Hey guys, we're back at Griffin Games. Gonna do another battle report today for the acceptable casualties. Today it's me and Neil. We got 3rd Infantry against Fallschirmjager. Be back in a second to go over the lists. So guys, here is 1,250 points of Fallschirmjagers at a bridge by bridge. Let's go down here and go over the list. So down here we have our 1IC, 2IC equipped with Panzerfausts. We have 2 identical Fallschirmjager platoons, 6 bases, command has Fausts, and a HMG has been attached to each of those. Up here we have 2 Jag Panthers, 2 Pack 40s. We have 2 of the Flakkerving 38s and 2 LG 40s. So like I said, all together, 1,250. Back in a second. Neil's going to go over his 3rd infantry list.
At the Devils and Dogs books, we have 3 infantry platoons. They've been enhanced by 1 team each, and they have sharpshooters. We have an 81mm mortar platoon, heavy machine gun platoon, ammunition pioneer platoon, and a weapons platoon. Company commander, second in command, we're good to go.
And you got what, your P-38 too,
And a
right?
P-38,
So that's
air
what,
power.
1,250 on the nose, you said, right?
50 on the nose.
That's 1,250 on the nose. We're going to roll up our
Don't add
game.
it up and check me.
Let's go. I'm going to hold you to it, Neil. I'm going to take your word for it on this one. So yeah, we'll be back in a flash, go over the game type and our deployment. We are back for deployment here. I'll go over the objectives first, and then where we got the rest of our guys set up. We ended up rolling up for Cauldron as well. Neil's going to be defending. So back here we have the first objective for the Fallschirmjagers, our second objective for the Fallschirmjagers, and then back over here we'll go over the deployment for the Jaegers. So I have 1 platoon I set up down here. They're dug in. I brought in my Flak 38s just in case Neil decides to bring that plane out. And then my other Jaeger platoon is in here with the 1IC attached to them. For Neil, he brought in 2 of the infantry platoons. The first one is kind of just draped around here. It's going through the village, up through the church. And then his second platoon that he brought in is holding a line along that back edge over there, defending that objective. The rules for this one, Neil's going to be getting his reserves coming in turn 3. I'll be getting my reserves coming in on turn 1. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 1 for the Fallschirmjager. Be back in a flash. So you're back here for Fallschirmjager, turn 1. On this turn, I ended up rolling in. I got my Jag Panthers in from reserve. I couldn't really get them close enough to really do any shooting, so I just moved them at the double. These guys ended up staying, going to ground. And then back over here, I fired 12 shots with these guys into the infantry platoon right here, and I got 0 hits, so Neil didn't even have to roll to save anybody's bacon. So we'll be back in a second to go over the bottom of turn 1 for the 3rd Infantry. So we're back here for the bottom of turn 1 for the 3rd Infantry. Neil rolled to bring his plane on, didn't get any successes, and that's all that Neil decided he wanted to do. No shooting, no moving, no nothing else. So it's a pretty simple turn. We're back in a second for Fallschirmjager, the top of turn 2. So we're back for top turn 2 for the Fallschirmjagers. I didn't get any of my reserve rolls in. In the movement phase, I kind of just held everybody back, didn't move anybody just to try to get some volume of fire down here. For this platoon up here, I fired 12 shots again and managed not to hit anything again, so that's awesome. And then down here, the Jag Panthers fired their 4 shots from their cannons, and I was able to pluck off 1 infantry base. So we'll be back in a second for Neil, see if we can get that plane in at the bottom of turn 2. So we are back for the bottom of turn 2. Neil did get the P-38 on with 3 planes, but I did get the flak fire from my 38s and was able to shoot them off the table with 4 6s. That's pretty much it. Still can't see any Americans on the field because Neil's dug in, gone to ground, and outside of 16 for the most part. So top of turn 3 coming in. I do get 1 reserve. Hopefully we'll start planning our attack pretty soon. So we are back for top of turn 3. I ended up bringing in my Pack 40s over here for reserves. In the movement phase, I moved them at the double. I ended up moving the Jag Panthers up over here, and I started pushing up with the Fallschirmjager squad here. trying to maybe bait Neil into shooting at these guys when he comes on the table. We'll see what happens. No, I've only played as my Russians.
I always forget the camera's rolling.
And then, so for shooting phase, we shot a bunch of shots into here. Neil made 3 saves that I ended up getting my hits on. I missed everything with my Yag Panthers. Down here with the Jaegers, I had 2 hits. Neil made both his saves on some of the guys over there, but it was enough to pin the unit with 5 hits. That's pretty much all that happened here. We'll be back in a second for the bottom of turn 3 to see if that plane comes back in and which platoon Neil's going to bring on the table. So we're back for bottom turn 3 for the Americans. Neil didn't get any reserves on this turn, thank God, and the plane also didn't come in. In the shooting phase, Neil decided to open up, ended up getting 7 hits or 6 hits down here on these guys. He was able to kill one and then pin the unit. And then over here, he got 2 hits on these guys as well with some machine gun fire, but I was able to make both of my saves. So that's what we're looking at here for bottom of turn 3. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 4 for the Fallschirmjagers. So we're back here for top turn 4 for the Fallschirmjager for our reserves. We ended up bringing in the LG-40s back over here to kind of give them a little bit of support with the flat guns down there. In the movement, we were able to dig in our PaK-40s here. We unpinned and moved up our guys here, and then we moved up our Yag Panthers over there. In the shooting phase, fired a couple shots. I don't think we didn't kill anybody, did we, Neil? In shooting? No, yeah. We pinned the unit that was here, and then we assaulted with the Yag Panthers. We were able to kill, I think, 3 bases, and then Neil failed his morale, so we had to pull back off the objective. So I'm contesting right now. Looks like Neil's going to have to do a counter assault here to kind of push me off. So we'll be back in a second for bottom turn 4. We got some reserve rolls and possibly the plane coming back. So we are back for bottom of turn 4. Neil ended up getting in one of his infantry blobs to come in off the back table edge over here. The plane did not come in again this turn. Overall, this was a pretty good turn for Neil. So as I said, he moved these guys up 6 inches along the back table edge. The platoon that was over here, he ended up positioning them to counter assault and get into range over there with the 2 Yag Panthers that were over there. So in the shooting phase, Neil spread his shots out from these guys, fired a bunch of shots into the rifle platoon over there, and then down to the flaks. I don't think you didn't get no hits with the flaks. He did do a couple wounds over here with some of the shots. I think he peeled up 2 bases from that, and then up here in the assault phase, Neil ended up going in, and he bailed out one of my Yag Panthers with a mortar shot, which was fantastic. And then down here in assaults, he got in there. I ended up killing off one of his bases. He passed the motivation to get in there, and then of course Neil ended up popping my tank. So pretty good turn overall for the Americans. They're starting to get positioned here. The vice is going to start closing soon, so I'm going to have to do something pretty special. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 5 for the Fallschirmjager. So we're back for the top of turn 5 for the Germans. I forgot to do my motivation down here for the other Yag Panther. As you can see, I failed that, so he had to come off the table. In the movement phase, I ended up pushing up 1 squad of Jaegers here. Decided it was time to get these guys out of the woods over here. We pushed up our LG-40s over here, and that's pretty much what we did for moving. In the shooting phase, we fired our Flak 38s down here into this platoon, and this is the beginning of Neil's hot dice right here. I had only 4 hits. He made 4 saves. Between the PaK-40s and then both these infantry platoons, I only got 3 hits on the platoon that was in here, and Neil made all 3 of his saves for that. And then in the assaulting phase, I took this platoon. I ended up assaulting that building, and then Neil had 8 shots in defensive fire. He got 8 hits. I think he rolled 7 6s or something like that. It was nuts. All I lost from that platoon, though, was my 1 IC, and then I failed my warrior save to pass it off. So they got beaten back and they're pinned. So that's what we're looking at right now for the Fallschirmjagers. That was a rough turn, and there's still a lot of infantry sitting around here. So this could be the end of the road here. So we'll take a look. 3rd Infantry, bottom 5. Here we go. So we are back for bottom of turn 5. In reserves, Neil had, this is what, your heavy weapons or pioneers? Or Pioneer team ended up coming in off reserves there. The plane failed to come in once again. Movement, Neil swung these guys around here to get some better shots, pretty much going all throughout the entire table. Up over here, I gave it this a little more support to the guys in the building over here by moving up this platoon and swung his heavy machine gun to get a better angle over here as well. In the shooting phase, Neil was able to fire and kill one of the guys from the one Fallschirmjager platoon here that was in the trees. This platoon down here, man, they got lit up. I ended up losing 2 bases or 3 bases out of this, and they ended up getting pinned. Well, they were pinned before, but I passed my motivation to stay on the table. Down here, Neil got 4 hits on these guys, but failed his firepower checks to dig them out. So overall, pretty good turn as far as whittling down my infantry right here. I think it's going to be really tough to get an assault off in the next turn or two, but we'll see how it goes. We'll be back in a second for a top at turn 6 for the Fallschirmjagers. So we are back for top of turn 6 for the Fallschirmjager. We have a little glimmer of hope here. I don't know if it's actually going to pan out, but we'll see how it goes. So in the movement phase, we pushed up both of our Fallschirmjager platoons and made a play on this building here. We got support fire from the Pack 40s and then just a bunch of machine gun and rifle shots. We were able to take out the heavy machine gun in there, and then during assaults, we were able to kill the other base and push back the commander that was on the other side and move them back off over there. Down here, we fired our 12 shots, only got 4 hits, and I think we pinned them from some fire from the LG-40s up there as well. But we were only able to do 1 casualty down here. So right now, things don't look too hot for us, but there is a chance. I mean, we have a very slim chance, but there is a chance. So we'll be back in a second for bottom turn 6, see if Neil can bring that plane in, and he will get the, what do you got, heavy mortar still left, right, to come on the table? Medium mortar platoon coming on. So we'll be back in a flash, bottom turn 6, 3rd Infantry. So we're back here for the bottom of turn 6 for the Americans. This is a pretty crazy turn right here. So Neil ended up getting the plane in on 1 die. He ended up getting 3 birdies to come in. In the movement phase, he pushed up over here with his Pioneer squad with the flamethrower. In the shooting phase, they were able to torch 2 of the Pack 40s, and then they assaulted and killed somebody over there. Down here between the mortars and the rifle team over here, fired a bunch of shots in. They were able to kill the command team and the one of the flak guns. I ended up passing my morale to keep them on the table. Up over here, there was a flurry of machine gun fire, and the plane that went into this platoon here. Machine gun fire came from, I think, 1 light machine gun over there, and then from down here as well. He was able to peel off 2 bases with that and pin the unit. And then up here, there's a couple shots, and then nobody got killed. But then in assaults, Neil sent in, I think, like 5 or 6 guys. Neil was able to kill 1 of the bases in the top floor, and then I was able to counterattack and kill a couple bases in him in 2 rounds of combat. He ended up failing the morale, and they had to break back off, which left me within 4 inches of the objective over there. So it's a Fallschirmjager win. Kind of stole one here. I mean, if you look at what's left on the table over here, it's a whole lot of Americans and not a lot of Germans. So I say about an hour after we finish rolling the dice, the Americans will probably just end up flooding and taking this town back. So victory, but I probably won't want to last. We'll be back in a second to go over the end of the game recap. We are back for the end of game recap. This one, me and Neil were just talking about it right now. This one really had a lot to do, I think, with the deployment for the Fallschirmjagers. For the deployment, I rolled 2 6s and a 5, so I got to pick where I wanted to set my guys up. So it was kind of nice. I was able to really bunch everybody over here and get some support with those flak guns and not have to spread out my infantry attack. I can kind of concentrate on the middle of the table over there. The idea of it was to use those Yag Panthers and support with my infantry to take that objective. When I ended up making that push over there with the Yag Panthers, I was hoping they were going to be able to at least like withstand a round of close combat and some shooting, but I had some terrible dice, and then Neil had some really good dice on top of it, so that kind of knocked them out. When that happened, I really thought my goose was cooked at that point. It was looking pretty bad. I think also too, like having to worry about this platoon coming off the back table edge here, them getting hung up with those flak 38s kind of saved me for a little bit. I mean, but I think overall, for the most part, it had to do with these 2 infantry platoons pushing up over there and just keeping them alive and making morale tests early on. Like I said, Neil had some really good dice as far as keeping his guys alive on the table, and he was hitting everything for shooting too. Like I said, this one was more about, I think, about luck than it was necessarily about skill. But I don't know, Neil, you got any thoughts as far as how this one played out?
The Germans made their morale check when they had to. They took the building, and I wasn't able to get it back. But like I said, we will accept their surrender if you want.
Yeah, exactly. About 15 minutes, we'll do the parlay, and then we'll all go home happy. But yeah,
Move to Idaho.
move back. So good game, fun game. Thanks for Neil for coming out here to Griffin. I said we'll be doing this again soon. Next list Neil brings out. I don't know. What do you think about next time? Do some Japs against Marines or?
Maybe.
So yeah, we'll mix it up. We'll see something new pretty soon. So catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.